Tonight on Nova Legends podcast, I have South Lakes Coach Mike Desmond, whose Seahawks are in the state final this Saturday against our Patriot, our good friend Coach Sherman Rivers. Coach, congratulations! Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, of course. We're still live. So, Coach, I was, you're not on social media very often, but I did notice this week, that a lot of folks are surprised that South Lakes has never won a state championship before. And, I'm not surprised just because before 10 years ago, it was very difficult to win a state championship. There wasn't many schools that had. My high school, Robinson, had been in the final twice and never won. South Lakes had been in the final twice, won in 99 with Dustin Alenga and Duke Cooper. They lost very narrowly to Princess Anne. In 2003 with Doug McLaughlin-Williams, Joe Bleich, the team we discussed the other day, they lost to Highland Springs. But it was very difficult in those days to win a state championship. But in 2013, when they started crowning 6 champions, more Northern Virginia teams started to get the opportunity to win the championship. Woodson won, Westfield won, Hayfield won twice. Now it's pretty common, but it's very tough. Have people approached you and said the same thing? Like, I didn't know South Lakes has never won a state championship. Why not? Has that been a topic of conversation for you as well?
Yeah, people have said it for, a long time, and not just, to me since I took over. And I don't think no matter if there was, 25 classifications, it's still hard to do, right?
Yeah.
It's still hard to do. And I think when you look at all those teams from the 80s and those teams in the 90s that didn't win one, maybe because there was 3 classifications, right? Sure. There were some great players and great teams, but I don't think it's ever easy to win even your district title, right? I think winning a championship is special. It takes a lot more than just skill. Sometimes you got to be lucky too. And if the stars align, sometimes the best team doesn't always win that night.
No, exactly right. What would it mean to you to win a state championship? Now, this is your first time in a title game. You've been in the semifinals, I think, twice or 3 times.
Twice before this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the 3rd time. So, what would it mean to you to be a state champion?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I never thought about it as a coach, like, oh, let's win a state title. You just want to win, and hopefully you help those kids perform the best you can. I don't know. It probably wouldn't even sink in right away that was accomplished. I think it'd probably be more impactful and more meaningful to the South Lake school, the rest of the community. Because again, as we mentioned, there's been so many great players and great teams that unfortunately just wasn't their night on one night. So, it'd be fantastic. I'm sure I'd feel, tremendous joy. I already feel blessed for the opportunity. But I don't know really if I can put into words what that would mean to me.
Right. Would the season be a disappointment to you if you didn't win on Saturday?
Nope. I don't know how many teams are in Class 6, but whoever.
I think 55, I believe.
So 54 teams don't win it, and 53 teams would trade position with the runner-up. So I don't think you can look at it as a disappointment for the season. Of course, we want to win just like Sherman and Patriot wants to win. But I don't think you can look at a season as a failure if you reach the state finals and it just wasn't your night.
So when you think about your seniors, Shunky, Brian Kennedy, Aiden, Billings, the guys that have been with you, is Tyler Andre a senior also, Coach?
Andre, Jordan Corey's been up for 3 years. We added Rochester this year. John Clark, a kid that you may not know, and Sean Redican, who got hurt before the season. We have 8 or 9 seniors. And, Aiden, Shunky, and Corey have been up since their sophomore year. And then, obviously, Brian and Tyler have been around since they came over.
What has that class meant to your coaching career?
Every group is different, every group is different. And I can't ever look at one class as more valuable or more important to me as an individual human or a coach. Each journey you take with these kids, as a coach, you give them everything you have if you're doing the job right. You make sure every part of your time is invested in them. And it's fortunate when you get the return and those kids aren't invested just in, just not just each other or the program, but you as a coach. So this group, like many other groups, I always say when we do the final end of the year banquet or whatever, these kids, when they leave and they go into the real world or whatever, um, you don't miss them. Okay. You miss something that's dead, something that's over. You remember them and they're always there. And, unfortunately for them, they're stuck with me for life. It could be 10, 15. I'm not going to say 20. I'll probably be dead in 20 years, but like 10 or 15 years, they know if they need something, they can reach out to me. And they also know if they're not doing something that's right and I hear about it, they're going to hear about it from me.
Yeah. But let them know if they do lose on Saturday, you're not going to pick up the phone if they call you. So, well, I know that Shunky and Billings and Kennedy, if they want to, could play Division III football, if not basketball. I think Billings is signed in basketball. But
No, Billings is playing D1 at Duquesne.
oh, well
Shunky
done.
has Division III offers for football, and I think it's an absolute crime that Andre and Kennedy don't have homes for basketball. I think it's an absolute crime. And you talk to coaches, well, he's too short. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. How about their winners? They're winners, and you put them on your team. And in practice, they kick someone's ass in front of them consistently. And when you put them on the floor, they make plays for you. So I think it's a crime that those guys don't have basketball homes right now.
Well, Tyler's come on really strong of late, and I'm confident he'll play well this Saturday, and he'll get on people's radar. But if he wants to play basketball, he can walk on to Division III school. He's that kind of player. He may not appear to be because he's kind of come on late, but he definitely has. Folks that know have watched him know the quality that he has. Brian Kennedy, basketball and football, is a very underrated player. Any Division III school that doesn't sign that kid for football or basketball is crazy. He's a very underrated player. He's almost a dominant player in both, but sometimes you might not notice it. But he has those kind of skills. But that being said, even when you play Division III, you don't play in front of the crowds you have at South Lakes, the crowds you have at regionals, the crowds you have at state. You may have 300 people in the stands. Division III is a different animal. You play because you love it, you love the sport. But when you leave South Lakes, unless you're Jordan Scott, those are your last moments on the big stage. That's just the way life is, and you have to understand it. Do you think kids these days understand that?
Excuse me. I don't know. I mean, I had a cup of coffee playing Division III, and we weren't any good. So that probably contributed to it. But you're lucky if there's more than just your parents there and the other team's parents. You're lucky.
Maybe your girlfriend, if you've been nice.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you don't get the big crowds, and they the kids, I think they misunderstand, and their parents, excuse me, their parents really misunderstand how good of players are playing Division III basketball.
Yeah.
And you get there, and some D3s have great facilities, some D3s don't. Most D3s that I'm familiar with don't have giant gyms because you're not going to sell out a giant gym on a random Wednesday night. So yeah, having the moment to play in front of these big, huge crowds, um, it's something that I don't think affects us now, but I think it's something when these kids look back, Even when I talk to my buddies who played with me 100 years ago, and they watch games on the NFHS or they go see a game, they're shocked how empty the gyms are because for us, it's a Tuesday night on the road and it's packed. And I'm like, it's just not like that anymore. So you get this time of year, the last month or so, or you get your quote unquote rival games and you get that great big crowd. It's special.
No, it is. And I went to a lot of college games this season. I went to Georgetown, I went to American, and I went to George Mason. I saw a lot of games. And those teams have to use fake noisemakers now. There is no crowd for Division I games now. I'm not sure what happened. I think maybe most folks are home watching Caitlin Clark. But even on the Division I level, it's very underwhelming. Oh, University of Maryland. I was there when one game they must have had 3,000 people there. I mean, it was, and that's a huge gym. It was all like fake noise. They had to move, but that's just the way it is. These kids are going to have a tremendous stage on Saturday, and I really hope they enjoyed it because they deserve it. Let's go back to Saturday now, and was it, no, it was
Friday.
it was Friday. It was Friday to the state final, the state semifinal against um
Hayfield.
it's Hayfield. Yeah. So that was the third year in a row he played Hayfield. It was at Centerville. You were inside, but it was a royal pain in the butt to get inside that gym.
Oh,
You're
it was
lucky.
at Westfield. Yeah,
I'm
Westfield.
sorry, it was at Westfield, and it was. I mean, oh my God, it was a struggle to get inside the gym. You're lucky you had a free ticket and you're in there. Um, you know, going in, you'd beaten Hayfield pretty soundly this year, but they've been playing better, and they came out of a very strong region. I think the Occoquan was very strong. Um, and you guys, had one of your best efforts. I thought David Rochester had a very strong effort for him. He didn't score a lot of points, but I thought he was a difference maker. I thought he had a nice game for you. What did you think about the effort compared to what your expectations were?
And first I'll start with David. I mean, being out basically 2/3 of the year, not knowing, game to game, are you even dressing tonight? What's going on? I was really happy that he was able to go out there and simply just be 6'8". So just be 6'8", rebound the ball, change shots. David did a great job. He can guard 1 through 5, so that helped us. But I think both teams had great effort. I don't think either team played good.
Hmm. I thought you played well. I thought your defense was very strong that night. I thought you played very good defense against Madison in the regional final as well. But I thought you had a real good defensive effort that night. Maybe I'm wrong, or
No, I mean, again, I think both teams gave effort and played extremely hard. I bet if you ask Los, he'll tell you they didn't play well. They didn't play close to what they've been playing, and I don't think we played well or close to what we were being playing. And both teams, I think, played extremely hard on defense, and maybe that's why it was kind of an ugly game.
yeah. Were you concerned when Jordan got in early foul trouble? I mean, two fouls could be considered foul trouble, maybe.
I mean, you're always concerned, but you know, we have other guys. We have other guys, and if anyone's making a game plan, oh, you stop Jordan Scott and you're going to win, that makes logical sense. But we have other guys, and other guys stepped up.
Yeah. I thought I thought you got good efforts from a lot of your players. I thought when you had to sit Jordan down the second quarter, I thought Brian Kennedy had a tremendous second quarter. And I thought Tyler Andre, as we talked about earlier, came in. Oh, he started, but he was very solid for you. And as a matter of fact, you actually extended your lead in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, Brian had a great first half, and Tyler didn't score, I think, until the second half, but he
That's
did
right.
all those other things. James always does those other things. Aiden got a little bully ball going. Um, but we just had other guys made contributions. And, well, it's great to have Jordan Scott. And, you can't replace a Jordan Scott, but we have other guys that can make plays.
Yeah. So, in the second half, yeah, I think you had a 7-point lead at halftime, coach, around there. 9 point maybe.
I don't know.
But
I don't know.
but it was a similar game the first time in that it was close early and you pulled away. Were you pretty confident at halftime that the second half you'd take care of business?
I'm never negative or overconfident. I'm pretty level. If we're up or if we're down, it's always talking about what adjustments, where are they hurting us, where are we hurting ourselves, and how we can clean it up. Um, and I don't ever look at the scoreboard as far as the way I'm going to coach. I'm going to coach the same way from the first tick to the last tick. So, um, I mean, we had a nice run some of the third quarter, and sure enough, Hayfield came storming back. So it was competitive. It was close. You just, guys are going to, this time of year, and I think I said it last year and maybe the year before, and it's not my line. I don't know who told it to me, but this time of year, guys are going to make plays or they're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought Phoenix Card did a good job of keeping them in the game.
Yep,
And then
Phoenix, the wild card. Yep.
yeah, exactly. And then when
Yep.
Jordan came back in, Jordan did well. He didn't force the action. He still, I know I felt like he wanted to make up for lost time, but he still let the game come to him, and he got shots within your offense.
He always does. I have a hard time thinking of, well, I don't think of any games, but or even many moments where he really forces too much. Willing passer, trust the guys around him, basketball IQ next level. So if it's not a good shot, it's not a good shot. I'm not going to force it.
Yeah. Well, you got the win, and you sent your friend Carlos home, crying like you promised you would last week when I talked to you. So, but when you think about Patriot next week, we got our old friend Sherman Rivers, coach of Patriot. So you're not on social media, but do you realize if you don't beat Sherman this week, if Coach Sherman wins the game, um, Patriot state champion, all the pictures of the team, it's going to dominate social media probably for the next 4 or 5 years. Do you realize that it's up to you guys to stop it?
I mean, I'm sure if Patriot beats us, Sherman's social media accounts will break the internet. But I mean, you know, I don't think I'd look at a basketball game and be like, damn, we need to win so we don't get murdered on social media or whatever. So,
Yeah.
that's just him promoting his program.
That's why you're not on social media. So, well, let's talk about Patriot now. When you look on a team that beat you pretty soundly, I was there. Jordan again got in foul trouble that game. He shot horribly that day. He couldn't make a shot. He must have been 2 for 15 from 3-point land, maybe. Um, and they shot well. So I think to be fair, they played about as good as they could play. And South Lake's you probably had your worst game of the year. I didn't see the other loss, but I know Jordan was gone. Um, what did you think about that game? And when you prepare for a team, would you rather have beaten them and risk complacency, or rather, them beating you? They may have the upper hand because they beat you, but at least you have kind of the motivational level to get even.
I think that game was so long ago, right? And I mean, you're right. We didn't shoot the ball well. They shot it extremely well. Maybe we didn't shoot it well because they played really good defense. Maybe they shot it well because we didn't play very good defense. I don't think it was their best game, and I don't think it was our worst game. It was just a game in mid-December that we played. And winning it, losing it, I don't know if there's a psychological advantage for them. I don't know if there's a psychological advantage for us. You're playing for a state title. That should be enough motivation for both teams.
Yeah. So do you when you look at your team now, it's a different team because teams grow, and it was a long time ago. Is your game plan gonna be radically different than the last time you played?
Not crazy different. I mean, like you said, both teams have grown. Both teams start different kids than what started that night. Both teams have ups and both teams have had downs. So we're preparing for some of their staples and some things that we know they like to do, just like I'm sure they're doing for us. But I think both teams can defend, and I think both teams do a good job pressuring the basketball. I think they're better at clogging the paint and playing better help side at times than we are, and I think we're better shooting the passing lane and creating turnovers that way. Um, both teams have guys that can make plays. Both teams have guys that can score. You have probably anywhere from 4 to 5 first team all state players playing in that game Saturday, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
So I don't think at this point you really change too much about yourself, and you don't want to overthink it. Um, you just go play, and hopefully you do the best you can at what you do. And if that's good enough to win, awesome. And if it's not, well, okay.
Are you going to dress up, wear a coat and tie for the occasion?
I might just wash this t-shirt. I used to have a nice suit, but the cleaners lost my pants,
Yeah.
and they gave me someone else's bag. And when I went back, they tried to argue that I was wrong, but none of that stuff was mine, and even the name on the bag wasn't mine.
Yeah.
So I didn't buy any more suit pants. So I have a jacket that I'm probably too fat to squeeze into now. So I just rock the t-shirts. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
Big dudes need to breathe. And when you want to snatch Brian Kennedy and choke him, you can't be restrained by dress clothes.
Yeah. Oh, plus will kill you. Do you wish the game was at George Mason University? Are you glad you both have to travel 100 miles, get a little road trip, have some fun?
Um, what if I'm indifferent?
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it'd be an enormous crowd if it was at George Mason.
yeah. No, I think it's clearly closer for both teams. And maybe you'd end up getting more people community wise out.
Yeah.
But there's 25 games being played at VCU in the next 4 nights or something like that. So it is what it is.
Well, so yeah. So well, look, coaches, this is it's been an amazing season. I know when you're supposed to when you're favored to win a state title, every moment's not always fun because it's pressure and you can only lose. But you had a great year. You had some injuries. You had the Rochester brothers were hurt all year. Aiden his shoulder was hurt coming off football. Your football players were late getting into basketball shape because they had just an amazing season. But yeah, I think you did a great job with this team, and you'd be a worthy state champion if you can win it. But last question, if it doesn't go well, do you worry that my good friend Kim Brophy will fire you if you don't win this game?
I mean, if that's why she fires me, she's had many other more reasons she could have fired me. So she
Yeah.
might give me a pass. And talking about Saturday, like you said, these were the two teams that everyone kind of thought would be, meeting head to head. And yeah, I mean, it should be an exciting, good game, I hope.
Yeah, it just should be. I mean, I talked to Sherman about this. It's a shame that it's not a Final Four with you guys and Woodside and maybe Hampton, whoever else is good, John Marshall, because I think we have some amazing teams in Virginia, but the way we are structured, when the season's over, there are questions to be answered, and we're used to that. We don't. In the old days, when you had a state championship, there was closure. Nowadays, you have a state champ, and you have to accept the fact there's 6 of them, and many of them are very good, and you have to just live with it. But I mean, that's something a coach can't control. As a coach, all you can do is get your team ready, develop your young men, make them into the best players and men they can be, and then hopefully, at these moments, go out there and do your thing. Are you guys going to bring a pep bus and try to bring some kids down there, or is everyone any person on their own to get there?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what I know they talked about it, but it's a Saturday morning-ish. I don't know if the kids would rather drive down themselves or sit on a bus. I have no idea.
Yeah, if I was a kid, that'd be a really fun Amtrak trip. I would just take the train. I'd take the train to Old Town, have some fun with my friends. Uber from the train station to the game and Uber back. It might not be the quickest way to get there, but it'd be a memorable event. And if South Lakes wins, it'll be a day that they never forgot. It's going to be memorable no matter who wins, and I think we're going to have a worthy state title. So, Coach, if you win, you got to come by, got to come back and see me next week and tell me how you made Sherman cry.
Look, man, I would love to come back on. That'd be the amazing thing. Get the kids on here so they can tell you, how they make me look like a good coach all the time.
Exactly. So, all right, well, Coach, always thanks for your time. I know these are busy moments. Proud of you. Glad you're able to do this. I know that. I mean, I remember when Gene Hackman in the in Hoosiers when he talked to his team for the last time, and he said the time for speeches is over. I just want to tell you guys I love you. When a team gets you to the state final, it's just an amazing moment. I mean, the hard work has been done. Hopefully, they can just go out there, play their best, and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I tell these kids I hate them all the time, but so I couldn't say I love you. If I told them I loved them, they'd probably flip out and think I was dying or something. But it's just really cool as a coach to watch the kids enjoy some success. It's great.
It is, and then when you win it, no one can say anything about it. When you win it, there's no second guessing. Like, we won a state championship. We won a state championship, guys. So if you're able to get the win, the result will speak for itself. And if you lose, you got some explaining. You have some explaining to do, Mike. So yeah, but that's the way it is. So anyway, Coach, best of luck. I'll definitely see you down there. Thanks again for coming on, and we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Talk soon. All right.